themselves into on this. What's today? Southern Saturday. You already know we at work. Decided to hop on, chop it up with an individual, see what the talk of the town. It's going down the word in the curve. You heard me. Just wanted to chop it up, see what's up with the and the lokes. Now, I did drop a new video on this channel if you guys want to scope it out on my opinions on the whole BG knockout fiasco, him telling and, that whole thing, right? Now, I did work on the G series, right? I had uploaded it onto YouTube, but then YouTube hit me with some bullshit criminal organization type of fucking strike, right? I think I know what the problem was. Now I'm gonna change it and then fight the claim, obviously, and hopefully get that video onto YouTube, right? YouTube just has so many fucking guidelines and rules, but I think I know maybe where I messed up on the video that they're talking about, though. Because I did something different in this G Life series than I did in my other channel ones, right? I wanted to switch it up, but I think YouTube complained about that. I think that's what they're complaining about. Because apparently, when you just show pictures, right, but with no dialogue, like say for a certain amount of time or at a certain part, I know that they consider that as glorifying. Just gotta have dialogue over it. What's cracking, Lion? Alex Jolman, what's good? What's good? Oh, Mr. Pasa is definitely up in the casa for the raza. Well, I found out I won't be able to graduate. All right. Hey, it happens, bro. Hey, don't let this, put you down. You know what I mean? Just take this as a learning curve. You know what I mean? And keep trying. But don't let this get you down, though. Sometimes stuff doesn't, work out how we want it to work out, but hey, that doesn't mean that it's over. But I'm pretty sure you were like, pretty a little homesick, right? Probably wanted to get back to your home turf at the same time as well. Are Jewish people greedy like the movies and TV shows say? No. Most of people's hatred for the Jewish people comes from just nonsense, right? Like they blame the Jews for Jesus' death. It's just a whole lot of religious nonsense, bro. Right? And then the whole money talk is just people giving, something just way, way too much. I don't know how many. Yeah, like in this side, no. Like in the West, like in the well, people consider the West, right? But yeah, that all comes from that, mumbo jumbo. You know, Hitler's rhetoric, pues. The Nazis' rhetoric. Fascists in general. And believe it or not, there's a lot of fascist people here in America. I mean, they disguise themselves as conservatives, but some of these people that claim to be conservatives or from the right are actually fascists. you know, they actually don't think that Hitler's ideas were all that bad. They were just misunderstood. And a lot of that comes from them feeling like whites are now oppressed, like they're now in trouble. Like if we don't do something pretty soon, our species is gonna, like, die out. Like, there's not gonna be no more white people because everybody's like all this interracial relationships and all these people coming over here, right? So a whole lot of nonsense, pretty much, right? They run off of that idea. They run off of the idea that now they're the ones that are looking to get suppressed, right? And like taken advantage of. Like, look at all these white people getting bullied and beat up by these kind of people, and they're not allowed to do nothing or defend themselves because then they're called racist. Like I said, like making problems that don't exist, a thing, right? Like what? Like fucking what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, them rushing to their own conclusions, bro. Like, bro, people don't target white people. Relax, my guy. Maybe all the videos you watched that happens, right? But there's a lot of videos where people are just able to live freely and cool and issues, right? But like I said, these people constantly feed themselves the negativity, and then they feel like the world like this because they don't give no break to the bullshit. That's what happens when you feed yourself all this bullshit all the damn time, nonstop. You actually start thinking the world is, some type of way that it's not. Just wonder. I used to have a friend who was until, I feel you. Jews took land from Muslims. That's a fact. Well, now, when it comes to the whole discussion of land, everybody has taken land from everybody. That is a fact. You know what I mean? Nobody's hands are clean. That's one thing is a fact. Yeah. That man is greedy no matter what background they have, what ethnicity. Hey, they share some things, right? They share a whole lot of bad habits. Yo. What's good? Man, claim to be loving Christians but have hatred towards colored even when the Bible says. Well, you see, that's one thing that don't take MAGA Christians seriously. They use the Bible and religion at their convenience, right? At their convenience, they want to say they have a strong stand on something because it says it in the Bible and stuff like that, right? But then with other stuff, all of a sudden it's okay to dismiss the Bible and what it says, right? So it's like they pick and choose what they like out of the Bibles, right? So it's like, okay, so you truly don't believe or have this, like, we have to do as the Bible says, right? Because apparently there's other stuff that it says and you do, right? So like I said, they just pick and choose, so they're not really devoted to the religion, to the faith. Only when it helps them spin their narratives. Because it's like this: they want to blame all these illegals in all these illegals for the problems in America, right? It's because of them that all these issues happen here in America, right? Because they get a whole lot of food stamps, and even though if you look at the statistics, a lot of the states where the people get helped by the government are actually Republican states, not even Democrat ones. But nonetheless, though, these people get helped by the government, right? But it's like, well, they're illegals. How are they getting helped by the government if these people have no papers, right? So doesn't that mean that the system is broken? Then the very system that you have love for and you're defending, right? So it's broken. Then there's something wrong with it, right? Because you can't blame these people for coming here and getting the benefits, right? What's broken then? These people coming getting the benefit, or the system in itself, right? Because if the system actually worked, right, where people who don't have papers can't get benefits, right? Then you can't blame these individuals, right? So it's the system that's broken, right? But they rather choose to blame the people, though. No, we got to get them out of here. It's their faults. Like, what? But you don't care about, your taxpayer money going to all these bombs hitting random fucking buildings in Afghanistan? It's very expensive, right? It's like, would you rather have your money go into some bombs just killing people, or to help a family who's actually in need? Because no matter which way you want to slice it, the money's not gonna go back to you. That's one thing that's for sure, that's a fact, right? Don't think just because you get these people out that all of a sudden you're not gonna be getting taxed and taxes ain't gonna be going up and inflation's not gonna happen. People people underestimate the greed of these fucking companies, bro. They'll find some other bullshit of why to say that the prices have to go up. You know what I mean? And what's a trip is that America's been using the same trick for so long. You would think people would catch on to it already, but they don't. You know, both political parties are broken, bro. Period. The Jews are there because of the USA has them there to protect the West from crazy Muslims. Why are Muslims crazy, bro? You mean radical extremists? Radical extremists and Muslims is not the same thing, though. Here, example. Um, the guy who attempted to kill Donald Trump. He was a heavily religious uh, Christian, right? So this guy was crazy, right? There's been serial killers that were Christians and Catholics. So now, because of these individuals' actions, right? Let's say, a serial killer who killed 13 people, but he's Catholic, like they say, right? Like um, Kemp. Does that now mean that all Catholics are crazy, or we get to use that rhetoric? Like, oh, because of this incident and this individual, we're gonna say that, oh, Catholics are crazy, because that's what people do to Muslims, right? Because of incidents where you have some radical extremists who have done horrendous things. People now label them as like, oh, Muslims are crazy people that are just, you know what I mean? When it's like, well, that's not, because you have some people that grab religion and because they're so twisted in the head, put their own twisted meanings behind it. Because killers have killed in the name of God and because of the Bible before. Like they read the Bible and they felt like the Bible was telling them this, right? Same with these individuals. It's no different. But I'll tell you what a lot of these groups do, right? Like a lot of these people who lead groups like this, right? Like who lead racist groups and extremists and terrorists, stuff like that, right? Is that they use religion as their guidance, right? They all preach the word and the holy word and the scriptures, but they put their own spin to it, like Hitler did, like Osama, like Saddam, you know, like a lot of these individuals, bro. Like these white supremacist groups, right? And even like some of these radical Muslim groups too, as well, right? You have individuals that grab the scripture, bro, and put their own fucking twisted, meanings to it. MAGA, look at MAGA for example. MAGA's a perfect example, right? They hide behind the Bibles and everything like that, but they preach nothing but hatred, bro. Muslims hate America culture. Well, no. Not all Muslims hate American culture. You do have some places where that is preached, right? But not to say that everybody there sees it the same way, right? Like Iran, for example. Iran's problem with the United States. But if you were to actually look up the history between the two groups of why they dislike each other, you would see that it's not so cut and dry. And you can actually see why they would not like America, bro. Because America has done a lot of shady, scandalous shit. No lie, they have. And they have done it a lot to Iran. They fucked them up, you know. You know, because America has this one thing where it's like whoever's running for office, whoever's looking to become president of these countries, right? If America doesn't like who's running to take over the country, they tend to meddle in and fuck shit up, bro. You know, they start funding fucking people to clash with these individuals and force them out of office. Shit, kill them if necessary, right? Because they don't like their views for whatever reasons, right? And then they fuck that country up, right? I mean, America literally created the very individuals that fucking bombed the Twin Towers, bro. They fucking trained them and gave them the weapons. Why? Because they didn't want Russia to be, you know, fucking meddling, you know, over there in the Middle East, right? Because obviously, you know, America doesn't like how Russia does things, right? That they were like, hey, Sasuke, you guys, we'll train you guys, we'll give you guys weapons if you guys, you know, that way you guys could fight these guys and push them out. And then they were like, fuck it. They took the help. They got rid of the Russians, and then they told America, "Fuck you too, motherfucker! You think that we weren't catching on that you guys were trying to play us too? But thank you for the training and the weapons." You know, because they knew that America was just playing them too, bro. They ain't that stupid. You know what I mean? I say that stupid because obviously these people were crazy as well. Right? But like I said, not everybody in those places, you know, it's kind of like saying just because China and America have their beef, right? That's kind of like saying that all Chinese people hate Americans then. Well, that's not true. You know, a lot of these people that live in these countries don't even have any say-so on what the governments do, bro. You know what I mean? A lot of these people don't feel the same way as their governments, but there's nothing that they could do about it. Right? So to say like, oh, okay, all of these people are in on it and hate, you know, America, and you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand how people could just think just because you're of a skin color, right? That somehow that makes you better than somebody else, bro. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like why? And they can never give a good reason for that. Like, why do you think you're superior just because your skin is lighter, though? Like, what does that exactly do, though? Does that make you smarter? Does it make you stronger? Does it make you fly? Like, what edge does it give you, though? Nothing. It's different type of shade of color. You know, you have had smart people that were, you know, dark and white, smart, handsome, you know, kind, generous, you know, helpful, and you have had them that were scumbags, pieces of shit, fucking rapists, murderers. You know what I mean? But they have existed in all these colors, bro. You know, one color doesn't, you know, produce more than the other. You know, it's kind of like saying like most if most mass shooters are white, Caucasian. Most school shooters have been Caucasian and white. You know, shit, like about 89% of them have been white. So just because of that, that doesn't make it okay for us to come and be like, oh, white people are crazy and mass shooters and they don't know how to act. You know what I mean? Just because of these individuals' actions. You know, like just because of the small percentage doesn't speak in behalf of the whole people. Same with every other ethnicity. You know, you have had bad people that are come in all these colors and backgrounds. Muslims go around trying to establish Sharia law. Well, that's not true though either. You know what I mean? Like you have individuals that do try to preach that right, but there's some people that just let people be though. You know what I mean? Not everyone's trying to like you know turn everyone to follow their beliefs and their ways. You get what I mean? Now that's stuff that like let's say somebody who's trying to push a narrative, like political parties, for example. Um, yeah, they have a reason of why to push this type of agenda and type of rhetoric, right? Because they have to paint whoever they're disagreeing with as the bad guys. You know, that justifies why you're behaving the way you're behaving. Like, why are you choosing to Like let's say you want this country because they have what you want, right? They have money or they have oil, they have minerals. Let's just say, right? And you want them. You just can't say that you want that because people are gonna be like, "Damn, you greedy bastard, you selfish bastard." So you have to find a different way of how to get that, but without making you look bad, right? So you start going, now we gotta go into these countries because these people are fucking crazy, man. They're trying to push this, Sharia law into, everybody's heads, and they're blowing up buildings. And then this is why we have to take action and strike now. This is why we have to go in there and do what we gotta do, because these people are threatening your way of living. Then like that, people are okay with it. Like, yeah, hey, yeah, fuck yeah, America's doing the right thing. They're protecting us, and you know, because you still need the public's backing in order to, invade and attack somebody, right? Because if the public doesn't like it, now you're gonna be put in a hot seat, right? And like I have said, even though the government has power, bro, one thing that all governments are scared of is scared of their people, bro. If their people all catch on and they all jump on the same page, fuck. Where's the proof? Other years of history, as powerful as these militaries have been, as strong as their armies have been, and as weak as their peasant, people have been, right? Starved and malnourished and no weaponry, right? Once all the people jump on board with the same idea, like, hey, yeah, you know what? We're done with this. Fuck these fools. What happens to the people that are in charge? Game over, bro. With all the power that they have had, game over, dog. Even the most powerfulest, empires and rulers have been overthrown, by people that, just throw rocks and sticks. And hey, but numbers is a big thing, bro. And like I said, these soldiers still have people that are within, civilians, right? So they're just not gonna, listen to that are being given, so stupidly, right? What if those are gonna be some of the ones that are casualty of that? You know what I mean? So they gotta play the game this way. They can't do it the other way. The other way. So by tricking people and doing this shit the long way, at least they, somehow tends to work because people are stupid. They fall for it all the damn time. They make them seem like if they're being attacked. Like something is like threatening their way of living. Like, not to say that there isn't some, like I said, there is bad people that are trying to do what people think, right? But to say that that's the the thought frame of most of those individuals, nah. As Donnie said, when the 2000 will go. No, I don't think he's planning on doing that. Right now the state of the economy, I just don't see where he's going to be able to pull the money to do that from. As much as he tries to lie, bro, tariffs are fucking up businesses right now, bro. They are. Tariffs are really, really fucking up work right now. Give us another stimmy. No, but see, people shouldn't even be happy for look. The government, if there's one thing for sure, bro, the government will never give you nothing for free, bro. Everything has a price to it, bro. You know what I mean? Even with the stimmies. You get me? So it's like we shouldn't be focused so much on worrying about the government giving us a stimmy or 2,000, right? What they need to do is fix the price of inflation, bro. That in the long run, bro, will come in more handy than a stimulus check. You know, fixing the inflation, the state of the economy, and you know, work pay. That will help you way more than just because this only fixes a problem temporarily, bro. You know, so that's only going to take you so far. Then you're back to square one, back to being fucked. Like I'd rather them fix the problem than get a stimulus check. ruling classes. A lot of the ruling classes. There is, levels of because of how stuff was before, right? Of why, some of the higher ups are Jewish, right? But not all, though. I think people just say that because that has been the narrative for so long that people think that that's actually what it is, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's just as much of a myth as the Illuminati, the one that's controlling everything. you know? Or that there's this class of individuals that pull strings. And there's one thing we have learned about these high, class individuals that are, top tier. Once everything hits the fans, is that a lot of them are fucking stupid. Like everybody that was involved with Epstein and everything. Trump's a part of that class. And let's just say he's not the fucking sharpest tool in this shit. MAGA is cool. MAGA is just somewhere where people could put all their anger and frustration towards. That's why they like it. It gives them a purpose and a place to store and all their anger at, right? It gives them something to blame and take out their frustrations on. Because people are not gonna want to blame, what's relevant to them, right? They're gonna want to blame something that they can't relate to. That's why a lot of the groups that always tends to, come out of the woodworks anytime any country has these issues, right? It always tends to revolve around ethnicities, right? America at one point was blaming the Italians, blaming the Irish, blaming the Asians, blaming the blacks, blaming the Native Americans, blaming the Hispanics, blaming the Muslims. You know what I mean? But it's always somebody, bro. It's never them. Always the blaming game. You know what I mean? Because people are not going to want to blame something that they can relate to. They can't blame these people because they're Christian. They can't blame them because they have eyes because they have eyes. They can't blame them for having a nose because they have a nose. They can't blame them for, the color of their skin because, they have the same skin color as them, right? So it has to be something that they can't relate back to. Their ethnicity, their background. Yeah, that must be the reason why everything's going to shit and why everything's fucked up. Yeah, because of these people that they can't relate to because they're different than them, right? They don't have the same skin color, so therefore it can't be something that could be traced back to them. So therefore, it makes it an easy thing to blame. And that's why everyone jumps on board so fast. Yeah, that's true, huh? It must be because of these motherfuckers, because it can't be because of these other things that could relate back to us. Nah, you're right. It has to be this. This has to be the reason. Yeah, this is the answer. Without a shot of a doubt. You know what I mean? Come on now. It's kind of like blaming a parent for something like a kid did, right? But let's say you do the same thing, right, to your kid. They're gonna defend the actions of the individual, like, oh no, I think what he's doing is not that bad. So if he smacked the kid just for, asking for an extra French fry, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the kid already ate, That's probably because this individual probably does the same, right? They're gonna defend the actions that they take. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it always works. It's kind of like a pedophile protecting another pedophile. Of course he's going to protect him. Of course he doesn't see nothing wrong with that. Like if you're defending somebody for sleeping with a, fucking 13-year-old, then that's probably because he finds him attractive in himself. You know what I mean? It's a lot on it, bro. Shows a lot more about themselves. Are we cool with Russia now? No. Even though Donald Trump and Putin, they don't see eye to eye. People make that mistake that Putin and Trump are best friends. They're not best friends. Trump may idolize Putin, but at the same time, you know, Putin doesn't see Trump in that way, right? Putin just sees Trump as a stepping stone. And Trump, at the same time, his ego won't just allow Putin just to step all over him either. You know, he may like the way the individual does things, but at the same time, he's not going to let this individual just make him look bad. Because like I said, Donald Trump's ego, right? So, no. That's one thing that I will give Trump, though. You know, Trump could let someone, Trump could allow himself to be, well, not even allow himself because he doesn't even see it happening. Trump could let himself be tricked by individuals, like when they feed into his ego, right? When they're playing him like a fiddle, right? When they're toying with him, but he just can't see it. But not like, as in, like, let's say they were to come and actually, like, make him look bad. Like, let's Trump says something and Putin does, you know, the opposite of it, right? Trump probably will take actions, right? Like, he'll probably put some kind of fucking sanctions or you know what I mean? But he's just not gonna, like, just not do nothing, you know? Because he's like, this motherfucker's over here making me look bad. Like, what's up with this motherfucker? Doesn't he know I'm Donald Trump? Wait, he's not gay. I'm sorry, I thought he was. Ah! Yeah, that joke was pretty funny. If I was like 10. All the 80s and 90s movies about. Yeah, like I said, propaganda. Just look at all the games themselves. Look at all the black ops. Who are always the villains? Russia, North Korea, Iran. It's always the same people. Hammers the home to, you know, people growing up. You know why you think that power tools and cars and all that kind of stuff is a man thing? It's a boy thing. Like why, you know, fixing stuff and power drills and why that's a man thing, and why cooking stuff and, you know, babies and all that, why it's a girl thing, is because when you were a small kid, what were the toys you were given? Cars, power drills, fake, you know, stuff to fix stuff, and, you know, and what were girls given? Fake, you know, cooking utensils and baby dolls and, you know, bottles. And so you grow up thinking that this is a man's thing and that is a woman's thing. Cooking must be a woman thing, even though most, you know, chefs are males. Right? And it's even more strange, like, oh, if this guy cooks, then he must be feminine. But yeah, most chefs are, but they don't say nothing there. Right? So it's just, you know, like I said, people's way of explaining stuff and seeing stuff, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, how is that feminine? Because he does the cooking. If most chefs are males, and you don't say nothing about Gordon Ramsay being a fucking feminine. Right? It's just like, you know what I mean? But these things are, you know, since you're a child, they're being taught to you and hammered home. You're raised to see things a certain way. That's why people grow up to see these people as the bad guys. Because that's how you're raised to see it. People have to think for themselves. That is true key to everything, bro. Not allowing yourself to be told how you should feel about something, right? But thinking for yourself and being independent and being your own person. You know, not giving your 100% loyalty to something that you truly don't understand, right? Like, you know, be like politics, for example, like giving your 100% loyalty to the right or to the left, right? When in reality, neither side really does care about you. Have you seen Renegade on Adams? No, I don't watch Adam No Jumper. Ever. He will never get my view. The only time I ever notice about stuff going on his channel is when people send me clippings, right? But I would never be friends. I just see Adam a certain way. Like, I just can't be watching somebody who fucking, you know, is a predator like that. By his own admission. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my lunch break is over. Gotta get back to it. It was good chopping it with you guys, and we out.